All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. So today was a pretty good day overall, for the most part, right? We had some miners who were actually in the green here today. We had some miners who were actually in red today. We had maybe a rotation happening here. So we'll take a look at what happened with the miners. Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin was still up on the day, so that was nice to see. We'll also take a look at some metric, well, not really metrics, but some charts on the miners as far as market caps. We'll also take a look at their market caps to revenues and things like that. So we'll take a look at a couple of things here on the sheets that I have for you guys. And then we'll get into Q&A and call it a day here. But as always, we got to go through this. Not financial advice for doing only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. You guys know the drill. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin right now. So Bitcoin had a pretty good day. It was up approximately 0.54%. It closed at 117,117 and 99 cents here. It was up a little bit higher than that. It was up at 117,998 and 17 cents. We're still kind of battling with that 117,000 mark, it seems like, on it. We're up a little bit on the new day. We're up 0.11%, so that's looking pretty good. Markets overall were in the green, which was nice, right? Dow Jones was up 0.27. NASDAQ was up 0.94. S&P was up 0.48. Russell was up 2.49%, which was nice to see there. Even Ethereum was up today as well. Actually, Ethereum was down. I thought it was up. Last time I checked, it was actually in the green here, so it must have closed in the red here. So it was down a little bit here, 0.06%. Miners, on the other hand, were pretty nicely today, for the most part, right? Somewhere in the red here. We saw Bitfarms get to close at 4.92% after being up to $3.60. This thing was up like 12, 15% at one point during the day, and then it came back down. So profit taking happening here, right? Which is probably not bad, considering that the RSI on the daily is pretty high here. It's 92 right now, so we do need a little bit of a pullback just to cool things off a little bit, right? And then we can possibly go up after that, but we're having a little pullback here after these. I mean, it's up huge here, right? On the month here in September right now, Bitfarms is up approximately, let me get rid of that. I didn't want that. Hold on. Get rid of that. It is up 138% here, and basically the last, 18 days or so in the month here, it's up huge. A little bit of a pullback, a little bit of selling happening here is probably normal here. People are up nicely as well. And then we will look at other ones as well. BitDeer was down a little bit, 0.12%. Kango was up 2.9% today. Cypher was down 4.28%. This thing has also had a great month here as well. This thing has, had a great couple months here. If you look at it here, this one has been up 55% this past month. Prior month was up 39%. Little pullback. We've seen this before on it, and it has gone up even higher, right? So we have a pullback here. We had a pullback here. 2-day pullback here, and it's gone up higher as well. Not too worried about it right now. I think the future is bright for Cypher, Bitfarms, and all the rest here. Cleanspark had a fantastic day today. It was up 17.66% here, so it's kind of getting re-rated a little bit, or at least we're seeing a rotation happening from Bitfarms, Cypher, IREN even, and getting into companies that haven't done so well here recently, like Cleanspark, Mara even today had a pretty good day. So we're seeing that happening, which that does happen from time to time. People are up huge on some of these miners, and they will rotate into the ones that are still way undervalued, which Cleanspark definitely is under that umbrella, along with Mara there. CORZ here was up a little bit, 2.95%. Hive was down 1.03%. Hut A was down 1.08%. IREN today was down 4.17% here, so this one's been kind of going up and down here a little bit, which is not on regular for it. On the monthly here, it is up this month 37%. Last month, it was up 64%. A little bit of a pullback, normal, right? I expected that to happen here. Didn't know when it was going to happen, but I expected it to happen. So we're having that a little bit here right now. Mara was up nicely today, 6.69% after being up much higher as well. This thing was up today to a high of $19.22 and came back down and closed at $18.50. Riot was down a little bit here, 0.62%. This thing has done also pretty well here in the last month here. If we look at that one, wow. Why is this one not loading properly for me? But it's up 27% for the month so far, so that's pretty good there. And then finally, we got Wolf here being down just a little bit, 1.59% on it. It's had a nice run up here as well, so that one's doing greatly. And then when the HODL companies for Bitcoin, MicroStrategy was up nice today, 5.89%. Galaxy was up a little bit, 0.37%. This thing has had a nice run up also. Block was up a little bit, 2.19%. Coin was up 7% here. Metaplanet was up 10%, even though this thing has been coming down here. We'll see if this is just a bounce here. or if it actually can extend the gains here going forward, or if it will actually fall down. On that one, Exodus was up 3.61%. That one is battling with the 50 simple moving day average there. And then we got Nexon here was down just a little bit, 0.12%. Similar. I mean, Nexon's kind of been flat here, right? Right around this range here. It's been bouncing around there for a number of days here. Looks like, what has that been, about 20 some odd days or so? It's been just bouncing around this line right now. Similar was up 6.54%. This thing has been kind of flat and bouncing in a range here as well. Phoenix up 2.94%. I mean, this thing is kind of all over the place on that one. And then GameStop was down a little bit here, another 0.84% after having a pretty good run here recently. Small miners were down for the most part. We had DMG being up nicely today, up another 11.31%. And then we had also Canon being up 1.23%. The small mine, or not the small miners, but the ETF miners, BitQ was up a little bit, 1.76% here. It's having a nice run as well. BKCH being up 1.97, similar run as well. DAP up 2.13. I mean, we're seeing the same thing on that one. And then WGMI was down just a little bit today, was down 0.12%. This thing has had a very, very nice run here. If we look at the monthly on this thing, it's had a nice, I mean, what have we had? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last 6 months have been green on it. And this month has been 34%. Prior month was 21%. This thing is doing great. The Ethereum HODL companies there, BMNR was up 5.06% on it. It's starting to come back up a little bit as well. BitDigital was up a little bit, 2.97%. BTCS was up 2.72%. Game was up 4%. I mean, this thing's still pretty flat there. It still seems to be range bound right now. We'll see if we can get if we can escape that. SBET was up a little bit, 0.58% there. And then what else do we have down here that we're kind of looking at? Wi-Fi, which is BitDigital's subsidiary there, is up 11.74% today. Open was down today, 2.64% after being up higher. Oracle was down another 1.59%. Nibius was up a little bit, 0.04%. And then Soluna was down 13.08%. Right? A lot of you guys are asking about Soluna there. I need to do some more research on that one before I can, provide any analysis or any thoughts on it. So that is going to be one of the things I do over the weekend here, I think. As far as the miners here in the after hours right now, well, we can see here that BitDeer is down just a little bit, 0.18%. Bitfarms is down 4.375. Oh, now it's 2.5%. Keeps changing on me. Cypher is down a little bit, 0.17. Cleanspark is actually, let's see where it ends up at, being up almost 0.75% up. CORZ Scientific is up 0.84. Hive is up, let's see here, 1.56%. And then Hut 8 is up 0.32%. IREN is up 1.21%. Mara is up 0.54%. Riot is up 0.51%, it looks like. And then TerraWolf, lastly but not least, is up 0.54%. So we're looking green here, at least in the after hours, overnight hours. We'll see where we end up on Friday. Tomorrow's Friday, as always. And then we'll see if we can get a green Friday for all these guys here, and Bitcoin included as well. Right now, Bitcoin here for the month of September is up 8.22%. So it's looking pretty good here. By the end of the month, we might be 10, 12, maybe 13% up on the month if this continues. So it's looking to be a pretty good month here. Interesting part is whenever we have a green September, we end up having it pretty good. Actually, October and November as well. Right? If you look at here, we were green back in, so this was 2024, 2023. We had a September that was green. We had October, November green. 2023, we actually had a December that was also green. And then going back down to 2016, we had October, November, December for both 2016 and 2015 being green there. So we might be seeing a nice fourth quarter here in Bitcoin as well. But we'll keep an eye on it, see where it goes. Bitcoin ETF inflows here for today. We had a positive 163. Yesterday, BlackRock did buy in 149 million, but it wasn't enough to make us positive. We were still down 51.3 million in the negative on that. So we had outflows happening yesterday, but we do have inflows here today, unless BlackRock comes in as negative on it, which I don't expect that to happen here. So we'll see where that all goes. All right. That is all that I have for that part of it. Let's get into some of the charts that I do have here. These are the market cap for the miners right now. Including the shares outstanding and all that stuff. So we can see here, IREN still has 9.8 billion market cap as it is right now. Mara 6.8. Mara came back up here, beating Riot, because yesterday when I did this, Riot actually overtook Mara. Core is at 5.1, Cypher 4.6, Cleanspark 3.7, BitDeer 3.3, and Hive is still at 785 million there. Still one of the lowest valued there. Shares outstanding, obviously you can see where everybody is at with the share number. And then when we compare the miners for the last 3 months of revenue, multiple market cap multiple, right? We can see here that Core is getting a huge premium there at 86, but we know that Core is getting bought out by CoreWeave. Cypher has a huge multiple, 67.8 times their 3 months revenue. IREN is at 43.6, Riot at 40.9, BitDeer 34.3, Mara 29.4, Cleanspark 16.8, Hive at 11.3, and Kango only 4.1. Kango being asset light, I would kind of expect that a little bit, but still seems kind of low on it. The big one here that's way undervalued, I think, is still Cleanspark and Hive, and we probably could include their Bitfarms as well. So I think those things can still run quite nicely here. When we look at the 12-month revenue here, multiple, we get pretty much the same kind of setup, more or less. I think we have a BitDeer and Riot changing hands here a little bit. But otherwise, everything is still the same here. Kango's getting 1.9 multiple, Hive 5.1, Cleanspark 5.2, Mara 8.2, Riot 11.9, BitDeer 15.6, IREN 16, multiple, Core 19, and Cypher 21.2. So we did have a little change here from that time frame. So some of these guys are like very, very fairly valued, maybe a little overvalued on their Bitcoin production here. And some of these other guys are still way, way undervalued, right? We know that the driving force here recently has been HPC AI on these guys. So, that's kind of expected, I guess. But some of these guys are getting to HPC AI, like Cleanspark, Mara are even talking about it. I would expect these guys to maybe outperform here in the next couple of weeks, maybe. I'm not saying that's going to be the case here. We'll see how much love they get for that, but we'll see. And then when we look at the 3-month revenue here, Mara has the most revenue, 233 million, IREN 226 million, Cleanspark 225 million. So, I mean, look at Cleanspark here, 225 million, right? But they're getting only a 5.2 multiple on it. Doesn't seem right. Same thing with Mara, right? 8.2 multiple, still generating the most revenue here. Over the last 12 months, if we look at it that way, we can see Mara's getting 841 million in revenue over the last 12 months. And again, right, looking at this here, 8.2 multiple, highest generation of revenue there, but yeah, they're towards the bottom end here. Same thing with Cleanspark, 726 million here in revenue, still at the end there. IREN 617, well, they're up higher here. So I think we might have a little bit of a rotation here, which would be fine. The only thing is IREN has run up so nicely on me that any kind of small percentage decrease on it has a much bigger impact for me, at least I'm sure for you guys as well. With like Cleanspark, even Cleanspark going up 17%, with IREN being down just a little bit today, I lost capital basically on my balance sheet there because of that. So that might happen here for a little bit. We'll see how this plays out though in the long run. Next here, I'm going to take a look at quickly here is just the enterprise value to market cap on these guys. EV to market cap plus debt minus cash minus HODL here. Enterprise value, so we can see Hive is still way low, 757 million there for that one. IREN, 10.2 billion on it. That is the king, queen, whatever you want to call it in the space right now. Mara is half of that basically, 5.4 billion. Then you got Core, 5.1, Riot at 4.9, Cypher 4.7, Cleanspark at 3.8, and BitDeer 3.3. Market caps, we talked about those guys in the market caps here. If we take market cap minus enterprise value, the difference on that as far as where they could possibly be valued at, IREN is still down about 379 million, Cleanspark's down 47 million, Cypher 41 million, Core 2.4 million, and then Mara and Riot would be obviously above that. They would be positive. While we look at the other part of it, which would be market cap minus enterprise value plus HODL, so if we include the HODL value there, we can see that Mara is undervalued by about 4.7 billion. Cleanspark undervalued by about 1.5 billion. Riot 734 million, IREN 379, Cypher 207 million, BitDeer 185 million, and Core 142 million, Hive 43 million. So, right, these guys that have been historically, at least recently, pure play miners like Hive or not Hive, Mara and Cleanspark are not getting properly valued here, and maybe that time is coming up where they're going to be properly valued for this. I don't know, but we're definitely seeing a little bit of a rotation here happening here today. Will it happen tomorrow? I don't know. We'll keep definitely an eye on it to see where it goes. Right, I have no crystal ball to tell you guys whether it's going to go that way or not, but we're just kind of seeing it right now, at least the first day of it happening here, where we're seeing selling happening in Cypher and IREN and others as well, going into Cleanspark and Mara, which have been historically undervalued tremendously here. Okay, so something to keep an eye on that, and that's all I have for you guys here. So we'll get into Q&A. Spreadsheet, as always, is available to my Patreon members. Link for that is down in the description, as always, and it's a couple bucks a month. Plus, you get access to our private Discord server as well. All right, let's get into Q&A here. We'll call it a day here. We're going on already 15 minutes. We're doing actually pretty good here. There was not much news as far as miners today. And then I had a pretty long day today. My boys had soccer games today, which ran late. So then I got home and tried to prepare all the stuff for you guys here. With the questions, if you guys could preface those with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. And I'm going to scroll up and work my way down as always on these here, and I can work my way down. All right. Sorry, Melon says Cleanspark to $40. I think it's possible. We just need some more details on the HPCI part of their business as far as what they're going to be doing going forward. Midway says very nice week so far. I would agree there. LM, any thoughts on ABTC? My thoughts on ABTC, it seems like it is quite tremendously overvalued. But that's just my thoughts on it. I could be wrong on it, but that's just kind of what I'm seeing right now with the number of shares, the stock price, where it's valued at right now. It's valued more than Cleanspark, Mara right now, which have not only higher HODL positions, but also have a heck of a lot more hash rate. And they have infrastructure, which ABTC does not have. ABTC is asset light. They have everything with HUD 8. All right. Midway. Question: if Cypher fills their 100 megawatts Stingray site with new Seal Miner A3 Pros, 12.5 joules per terahash, 280 terahash, how many exahash would they get from 100 megawatts? Could you put that into your spreadsheet calculator thing? Thanks. Yeah, I can do that. Bear with me a second here. We'll pull this up here really quick. Let me see here. Open recent mining calculator. That's what we want. All right. So let's see here. Those things are, so they got 100 megawatts. All right. We got 100 megawatts right here. We want to see what the speed is, 280 terahash and 12.5 joules per terahash. So what is that going to be in megawatts or in kilowatts? Let me run my calculator really quick. Not calendar, calculator. All right, 12.5 times 290 gives us, let's see here, 290, 3,625 kilowatts, or watts. All right, so let's see here. All right, let me pull this up for you guys so you guys can see it. 100 megawatts, what do we got here? 290, right? Was it 290? Oop, went too far. Actually, I didn't go too far. Let me see here. 290 terahash. Okay. So it was 290 terahash. 290. And it was 3.625. 3.625 kilowatts per miner. That gets us to about 8 exahash additional for them. Depending what the cost on those is going to be, obviously. But that's kind of what they could get. 8 exahash. And that would be, how many miners would that be? Let's see here, 27,586 miners, roughly, more or less, for 100 megawatts at that point. Okay, so you can see that there. All right, going back here. Okay. Sorry, Melon says, LM, stay far away from ABTC. It's super overvalued. I have the same suspicion there. Okay. Sour Melon says, these stocks have so far run. It's crazy. Don't take profits yet, gentlemen. Be patient. I'm of the same opinion, right? Hopefully I'm right on that in the long run here, but in the short term, we could have a little volatility, right? The stocks could go down in price, get a little bit of a repriced from the ones that have run up nicely to some of the ones that have not. Rotation happening here. We'll see. Roz, question, what are your thoughts on Riot? How much will it go up and why it was red today with no volume? I think it was just rotation, maybe. So I don't think it was institutions selling. I think it was more retail than anything else selling at this point. That's kind of my take on it right now. As far as where will it go up to, I don't know. They are getting to 45 exahash here by the end of the first quarter, which is great. So they're having a little bit more growth in Bitcoin mining, which is nice to see. I think they're probably all done selling Bitfarms shares there. I think. I'm not sure for 100%, but I think they would be pretty much done with that. And then the HPCI side of things, we need some news on it, I guess. That would pump it up even higher from where it's at right now. All right. Andrew says, Cleanspark, let's go. Yep. Riot thoughts, basically giving you my thoughts on Riot right now. Right. They made a blunder with Bitfarms trying to buy them out. They paid a much higher price for it than where they were selling at, so they lost money on it. That wasn't a great move there. At times, their operations have not been great also. They've had issues in the past. Hopefully, they got those all resolved. And then hopefully when they get into HPCI, right, if they get a good deal, that should help the stock out there. Where would it go? I mean, we've seen historically here with some of the latest deals happening for these some of these miners, is they go up 30, 40, 45, 50%, right? So that's kind of what I would expect if that was to happen there. James says, question, hi Seb, I hold a lot of Cleanspark. What do you think is a fairly price for them now, and how high can it go when BTC hits 140,000? Greetings from Germany. All right, well, greetings from Germany. Greetings from the United States. Thanks for coming in. But as far as, do I think they're fairly priced right now? No, I think they're still undervalued from where they really should be. They should be somewhere between $20 and $30, in my opinion, just for their Bitcoin mining operations and the HODL that they have right now. And on top of that, the HPCI potential, we don't know what that's going to be, though, right? We know that they have about 1 gigawatt of power right now across 33 sites. We don't know how many of those sites could be a good fit for HPCI. We need some details from them. But if they could get at least a quarter of that, that'd be 250 megawatts. That would be huge, I think, for them. And then if they find more megawatts out there someplace and plan to build those out in 2026 and 2027, that would be fantastic. So I think there's a lot of potential there for not only Cleanspark, but obviously for IREN, Cypher, right, which already have a lot of megawatts as well. But this is just the beginning of the demand on megawatts for all of this HPCI stuff. All right, let's get my thoughts on that. Let's see, NHUT, you think profit will rotate from IREN and Cypher into Cleanspark and Bitfarms? So basically the total profit, if I bought all of them, not goes up much. I mean, you're still up nicely here, right? I would have to run the numbers as far as, I mean, depending how much we were up already on IREN and Cypher, right? So if you're up, for example, let's just say $200,000, you're up on IREN, right? It goes down let's just say 5%. That makes it easy. So 5%, you'd be down basically $10,000 on IREN at that point. And if you have Cleanspark, you would need that one to go up from where it's at right now, like 10% to 15% to make up that difference, depending where your stock is at when you bought into it, right? So you need greater gains in some of the other ones that are running to make up for the losses, just small losses in some of the other ones, which is kind of interesting. I saw that today on mine. It's like, okay, why am I down? I saw Cleanspark being up nicely. Excuse me. I saw Bitfarms being up nicely as well, and then I had Cypher and IREN down, and my portfolio actually decreased. I'm like, what? All right, then I started looking into it. I'm like, okay, this makes sense, right? I'm huge up on IREN, so that amount with going down just 4%, whatever it has been, is going to be much larger than somebody that's low in my portfolio, going up, 17%. I hope that makes sense for you guys. I got to take a sip of water because my throat's getting dry. All right. Let's see. Andrew, great video with Cleanspark CEO on Schwab Network, HPC incoming. Yeah, I saw that today also. That lifted up my heart a little bit because, as you guys know, Cleanspark has been beaten down, has been dragged through the mud by retail and everybody else, I guess you could say. But I still had faith in them, still hold on to it, so I think it still will do great. All right. At Perfecte, what happened to Bitfarms? Just a rotation, or was there news? There was no news. It was just rotation, I think. People taking profits. Nothing major there really happening right now. It's been up huge, like we pointed out in the beginning of the stream there when we looked at the charts on it. So it's just a little bit of a pullback. I think it's healthy. The stock is way up there. The RSI is way up there as well. We need a little pullback. I'm not too worried right now. All right. Let's see. Pre-market Bitfarms 3. Is it down $3 or 3% right now? Or is it up 3? What's it showing? It's down. Right now it's showing up negative 0.437% down. So a little bit more of a rotation happening there. Some profits taken on that one as well. All right. Okay. Sour. Why do you think Bitcoin has performed so terribly in 2025? A year with so much adoption. We were 106,000 in December. My thinking is because to be honest with you, I think it's the institutions have taken control over it more so than anything else. We're seeing obviously less and less Bitcoin on exchanges, right? We're seeing also less and less on OTC, but yet still all these companies that are buying it, whether it's the ETFs, whether it's MicroStrategy or Strategy now called Metaplanet, whoever it is that's out there buying it, they're buying it either through the OTCs or under counter or something like that. It just doesn't make any sense with all the buying that's been happening here and just what we've been able to mine with the miners here. So eventually I think it's just manipulated by the big boys. We are just now a part of that, and we are at their mercy. We also saw obviously some major whales sell quite a bit, right? A couple $1 billion worth in the last couple of weeks, a month or so. So that kind of played into it. But again, like I said before many times, I think this cycle is going to be extended. We're going to see slower percentage gains or lower percentage gains than we have in the past, but we're going to go longer. Okay, so that might not actually be that bad there. That's kind of my take on it right now. All right. SH says, the United States is in midst of an unprecedented AI infrastructure build-out. Google, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft collectively plan to spend over $350 billion on AI-related data centers in 2025. I would agree there. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of build-out. There's a lot of demand happening here for it. And the AI just keeps getting freaking better. I mean, it's outstanding. It's amazing. It's almost, I mean, the stuff that you're seeing there with video, audio happening in the space, pictures, everything else, the brains of AI is mind-blowing. Maybe for a reason. I mean, it is smarter than humans are right now, possibly, and even getting even smarter. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from AI. It's just, I have a little concern there as well for humanity. You're going to have a little concern, right, regardless. But overall, I think it's going to be good in the long run. It just might be turbulent for some people in some sectors of the economy. I'll just leave it at that. All right, what else we got here? Okay, Essie says, Morgan Stanley projects the total AI build-out could cost up to $3 trillion over the next 3 years. Wow. I mean, that's definitely a lot. I mean, depending what kind of data centers you're building out, yeah, tier 3, definitely very expensive there to build out. The GPUs are very expensive as well. And that's also, I didn't get to read it, but I saw Intel and NVIDIA made a deal, or NVIDIA's investing in Intel, something like that. I got to read into that, see what's going on there, because that's definitely interesting as well. James' question, at which price only from a BTC mining perspective is Bitfarms fairly valued at the moment? Thanks. Right now, I would say my original targets for them when they were mining Bitcoin, when I was tracking them, it was between like $3 and $5. That's kind of where I thought they would be fairly valued at that point. Now, yeah, and on top of that they have potential in Pennsylvania with their sites that they have purchased through from Stronghold. If they can get to like 1 gigawatt there on one of those sites or 2 of those sites, I mean, that's huge potential there, because that's a huge metropolitan area there with a lot of people, around 30 million or so. So that's, you know, that's like a grade A++ site to possibly have there. All right. Let's see. R2509, do you have a price targets for miners before taking profit, or will you wait for HPCI deals to be announced? I'm going to keep an eye on things, see where things go. I know for a fact maybe we'll pick the tops on these guys, because nobody's going to be able to pick the tops. Maybe somebody is going to be able to do it, but for the most part, the majority of people will not be able to, you know, get out at the top. We don't even know where the top is going to be here. We don't know if the top is going to be this year, next year, or the following year, or in 5 years on these things. So it's a little difficult to figure out where we're going to, you know, take some profits at this point. If you're up nicely, you're up hugely, whatever it might be, taking profits is not a bad thing, right? De-risk a little bit. Like I said before, I'm still in it for a little bit longer here. We'll see where we end up at. I think if some of these guys still double or triple from here, I would probably be taking profits at that point. But for the most part, I think this is still going to be maybe a little bit of a longer term play here, right? People are calling for Bitfarms to get to $10. People are calling for IREN to get to like over $100, closer to $200 potentially with all the megawatts that they have available. Cypher, similar thing. And if that does play out that way, there's still a lot of money on the table that we don't want to scrape off just yet. Maybe that's just my thought. But you got to do what you got to do. All right, LM thoughts on ABTC. Talked about it a little bit here in the beginning of the show as well. I think it's overvalued right now based on being asset light, their hash rate, and the amount of hodl they have right now. They're, being valued more than Cleanspark is right now, or possibly even more, I think. So that's just way, way too high to me. All right. Godswill Odie, question, when is BTC going to top if this is going to be an extended cycle? Oh, God. If it's an extended cycle, we could be looking, it'll top out at $1 million and then eventually at $10 million probably, right? When is that going to happen? Next 5, 10, 15 years. We don't know. It's never going to be at a top here in the short term, right? Top this year could be between 150, 180,000, somewhere around there, right? But in the long run, we're still looking at 1 million, potentially in the next decade or two, we could be at 10 million for it. So the top is still not in, nowhere near being in. All right. SH says, hey guys, this is going to be a long move up for the next few years. Don't panic and sell the dips. A few millionaires are going to be made, and hopefully some of them will be us. Good luck. SH, I would say I would agree with you there wholeheartedly right now. But we need to see some conviction in that as well with some of these miners getting HPCI deals. I think that would help solidify our thought processes and our convictions there as well. So I'm looking for those things to happen. All right. Let's see. Andreas, I'm heaviest invested in Hive. Do you see it going to 15 Canadian, and would you reinvest some into other miners? Break even at $10 Canadian. Okay. Hive is obviously right now at $3.84 USD, so I'm guessing that's around $5 Canadian, I think, something $5, $6, right around there. So you're still underwater on that one. Could get to 15x or $15 Canadian, possibly. They bought a site in Toronto, right? 7.2 or 7.4 megawatts, something like that. They are going to be retrofitting that to a tier 3 data center. It's a tier 1 data center right now, so there's going to be some cost involved with that. And then, they can put in their GPUs and everything else into it and make money on it. So they're going in the right direction. They're also expanding their Bitcoin mining operations to 25 exahash here by the end of the Thanksgiving for U.S. holiday. So I think they should get to at least like $10 USD eventually, and they could even go behind that as well. My only concern that I've had with them, and I've stated this openly, right? I love their operations. I love their growth here, but they don't have any operations in the United States. That's been only my concern there with them. All right. Jelly Guy says, I missed these 15 plus days for Cleanspark. It has been long overdue. It has been long overdue. They have been beaten down for sure. Karan, how high Bitfarms can go by December of 2025? I think we could get to like $5, maybe higher than that as well. Right? As long as everything else goes up. We got tailwinds right now. We got not ETFs, but we have rate cuts happening, which should be good for obviously Bitcoin miners as well, risk on assets. The HPCI boom is happening here, so that's where I kind of would think the least it would go, but we'll see. All right. MD says, a talking head on CNBC said there is risk that the U.S. bond rates tick up, which would halt the stock market. Do you see risk in that? There's always a little risk in that. I'm not an economist, so I really can't speak to that point of it. But yeah, bonds going up. Well, wouldn't that mean then if bond rates are going up that demand for U.S. bonds is increasing here instead of going down? Right? Am I looking at that the wrong way, or am I looking at it the right way? All right. DJ asks, are you going to add ASST to your Bitcoin treasury companies? I'll have to take a look at it, see if that's one of those as well. So I'll take a look at it. Okay, John Kurt says, Melon is correct. These are momentum stocks, never sell momentum. Okay. Okay. MD says, it is correct that Cleanspark converts take place at $22 and $23 per share. Okay, that's kind of what I was saying, right? $22, $24, somewhere right around there was going to take place. Perfecte, are you guys going to sell your miners by end year, or do you intend to keep till next year and longer? Well, we'll see what everybody... Well, let's do a poll here really quick. Why don't we do that? Hold on. Let me add a poll really quick. All right. Let's see. Sell miners this year, next year. All right, we're gonna start a poll here. See what you guys come up with on that one. DFly, BMNR up again 5%, while ETH flat. Believe it yet? Not yet, DFly. I'm still hesitant on the Ethereum treasury companies along with Bitcoin treasury companies. DFly says bought call options on Cleanspark yesterday and up 60%. That is freaking awesome. Love seeing that. Congrats there. MDMD says, do you have an interest in MetaPlanet? It has more than 20,000 BTC on its balance sheet. No, I'm not really interested in the treasury companies. Mine, maybe I'm mistaken this, and maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. If I wanted to get Ethereum or Bitcoin, I would just buy it directly. I wouldn't go through a treasury company like Sailors, treasury companies, or MetaPlanet, right? I love the fact that they're buying up Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I love that part of it because it obviously takes it off the exchanges and makes the price go up higher. So I love that part, but for me, I would just buy the asset directly. All right, Scorched Earth Actuary, a question, at what price do we have to worry about Cleanspark being overpriced? Does it still have some room to run? Based on my numbers for Bitcoin mining operations in general, they should be between $20 and like $30. So I think we still have a lot more room to run with them. All right, DeFi, Cleanspark HPC is all the hype, or can Cleanspark really run HPC narrative? I think they can, right? They have a data center in Georgia, close to Atlanta, that was once a data center, actually. So they can convert that over on that one, and they obviously could do the same thing with other sites as well. Or they can get new sites, potentially. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but we know that they are getting into the space here. And it's better late than never, I guess you could say. All right. John Kurt says, it's crazy to bet against Tom Lee, but the volatility is insane. It is, yeah, in there. And then Tom Lee, look, I love Tom Lee, right? Tom Lee is a mega bull, but he was calling for Bitcoin to get to, what was the last cycle, 250,000 or something like that. We didn't get close to that. So, all right, he's a promoter, but I love him in the space. I mean, that's what we need. We need promoters and, big pumpers. All right, Victor C, is the dip for Bitfarms done? That I don't know. We could have another day tomorrow with a little bit of a dip here. We could have Monday also a dip. If you do get a dip, it's a buying opportunity in my opinion, if you haven't gotten into it yet. Okay. The perfect day price prediction for BTC by the end of the year, I'm thinking somewhere between 150 and 180,000 right now. Just the way the Bitcoin's acting right now. Yes, we do have rate cuts coming in for October as well. That should help out. December, same thing. So we might have the next couple months where we are in the green in Bitcoin price appreciation. All right. Gary says, if IREN has never missed a performance goal, and we know their price will likely double if they meet their year-end goal, do you think betting IREN will miss their first performance goal for the year? I'm not betting on that, no. IREN has had a fantastic run with meeting their goal targets, so I would not put this something that they would miss. Okay, so I wouldn't think that. All right, DeFi says, whales love liquid stock, and BMNR is one of the top ones out there, plus Ethereum narrative is very bullish heading towards Q4. I've been saying at BMNR since 1.1 MNAV over, you have been on that sideline there, cheerleading for BMNR. And you might be right on it. I could be wrong on it completely, so I will give you that, right? I'm not saying I'm going to get everything right here. It's just certain things I don't want to get into, and maybe that's just to my own stupidity. I don't know. But I didn't get into any of the runes, any of the ordinals, any of the, the other things, the JPEGs on Ethereum that you had there. I didn't get into any of the yield treasury companies as well back in 2021. I mean, that just didn't seem like it was feasible in the long term on some of these things. So I look at it that way, and I could be wrong here, but maybe you're right. All right. Let's see. Why would Bitfarms, would you buy Bitfarms around $3? If I haven't bought it before at much lower cost, I probably would. All right. I think there's still more potential for it to go up here. Their timeline for HPCI might be a little bit more extended out than for, say, Cypher or IREN, but they have a great site in Pennsylvania, or a couple of great sites in Pennsylvania that could be used for that. So yeah, I think it's a longer term play maybe on that information. DeFi on dips, which two miners are your top buys? If I had cash right now, I'm still trying to scrape up some cash. If I had the cash, I would probably be buying Cleanspark right now and probably Bitfarms. Those two are the ones I'd be buying right now. All right. Stefan says, surprise Mara doesn't jump into HBCI with their massive BTC holdings and HBC AI, it would skyrocket. Well, they're not selling any other BTC holdings, so you can forget about that dream. They're going to hold on to it until they go broke or something like that. I don't know. You would think that they would sell a portion of that to maybe fund HBCI growth or something. Maybe they would eventually, but right now we're just not seeing that. They are getting into a little bit, right? They bought a portion, a majority stake in a company that does something with HBCI. I need more details on that one there. DeFi says, let me see, where'd it go? DeFi busy, Mara's busy mining Caspa. We haven't heard anything about that in probably over a year now. Ja asks, do you think Bitfarms' outstanding shares is a problem? Other miners have less outstanding shares in the market. No, I do not. Right, the stock has done nicely here just with the number of shares they have right now. I don't think it's an impediment for the stock to go up. I think it's just the transition that they've gone through, the Riot issues that they've had to deal with as well. So I don't think that's a problem there, right? We have other companies that are in the S&P 500 that have a heck of a lot more shares. So I don't think that's a problem there. All right. Stefan says, Caspa is their downfall 100%. I don't think that is. I mean, that was just such a small percentage of what they were mining there. SH says, thanks, Sebastian. You're very welcome, SH. Thanks for coming in. Jelly Guy, Hive dilution machine has been too strong. I have a stack at 25 Canadian dollars that I completely gave up on, hoping that the gains from other miners can make up for it. When did you get a 25? Well, they had a reverse split. Wasn't it one? Was it 5 for 1, I think it was, or 1 for 5 shares? They did a reverse split, what was it, 2 years ago, 3 years ago now? But they have diluted quite a bit here again in the past year, I would say, to get to 25 exahash later on this year. So, yes, you are correct there. Do you think there will be ATM offering around $20 for Cleanspark? I recall the CEO talking about this. Not an ATM. It would be a dilution for the convertible notes. Right, something gets triggered there around $22, $23, $24 that there will be some dilution there, but not for the ATM. All right. MDS, Seb, can you do a quick poll on this group? Will the U.S. government create Bitcoin strategic reserve before the end of the year? Well, the current poll that we have running is, let's see here. Sell miners this year, next year, 52% are saying this year, and 48% are saying next year. So, I mean, that's probably within a margin of error there, where we could say it's half and half right now, which I think if we were talking about this earlier in the year, we'd have probably a lot more people saying that this year. All right, so let's end that poll there. We had 44 votes on it. Let's do another poll here really quick. All right. I need a poll, not chat. Bear with me a sec. Start a poll. All right. So it's here. Will the U.S. Gov create Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, SBR, this year? All right, let's do the poll. Yeah, I mean, they had a working group, or they had a conference with some people Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? I don't think it was yesterday. Maybe it was yesterday. Time is just flying by too fast for me. All right, DeFi says, Tom Lee also called BTC to 100,000 when it hit 5,000 during COVID. Just got to hodl. Yeah. SH Bitfarms volume today was 182 million, the highest ever. This huge volume is speaking to us. Speaking, it's going to go up higher possibly, right? All right, Gary, important to remember, huge difference between a data center and HPC data center. 95% of the data centers can't run Blackwells. All data centers could run hoppers. Yes. You definitely need a heck of a lot more kilowatts per rack in running those Blackwells. You also need liquid cooling, which a lot of these data centers that are currently out there don't have that possibility. They would have to get retrofitted. So, yes, Gary, you are correct there. All right, Mr. X, what do IREN do with all the income made from the sale of their BTC each month? fund operations, so pay themselves, obviously salaries, all that stuff, pay electricity, and then the remainder they use that to fund their HPC AI growth. Okay. All right. The All-Seeing Eye says BitDeer also a great buy. Big upside left. I believe so. Yes. My only concern with them is any potential ties with China. That's the only concern I have with them. But they are obviously doing really, really good here, growing their hash rate, developing these new ASIC machines as well, megawatts that they have available, and pipeline that they're building out as well. So they have a lot of potential there also, I think. All right. Carl, personally, I have a GTC order open on Bitfarms at 268. This was to answer another person's question. Bitfarms was up during the day. After hours don't really count, in my opinion, but we have gaps to fill, hopefully. There are gaps on Bitfarms. There's not only gaps on Bitfarms, but there's also gaps on IREN as well that I saw here. If we look at, let's see here, Bitfarms really quick as well. There are some gaps here. Go to browser here. We got a gap here between 235 and 226. A slight gap here between 315 and 312. So that's a small one there. IREN, I also saw a gap on that one. Where did I see the gap here? There it is, right there. 25.39 and 24.28. Right, so there's a gap there. This was going back to all the way to the end of August there. Let's see if Cypher's got any gaps here as well. Cypher does not really have any gaps here, so that one looks a little bit better. Cleanspark's got a little bit of a gap here from today, 1184 and roughly 1167, right? So we do have a little bit of gap there. We also, I wouldn't say this is a gap here because it's got filled back here, so that doesn't, not really need to get filled, but yeah. Gaps do like to get filled for sure. They don't always have to fill 100% of the time, but they do like to get filled for sure. All right, what else we have here? Okay, talked about that one already. D-Flight. I like Timely. He seems legit during the internet boom. As a hedge fund analyst, he avoided hyping IPOs for commission if he didn't believe in the business despite pressure. Okay, that's pretty ethical there. So I do like that. I didn't know about that, about team in the past there. So thanks for sharing that. LB sold most of our miners, just holding strong on Hive and BitDeer. I think they have the most upside potential. Wish me good luck. I wish you good luck. I wish everybody here good luck. I wish everybody here, makes generational wealth. You guys all become millionaires. You guys can retire and follow your dreams and passions there. Let's see here. DJ, CORZ, any word? They're new miners from Black. No word on that yet. I don't even know if that's going to happen, to be honest with you. They were supposed to get them in the summertime or in the third quarter, I believe it was. I mean, the third quarter is almost over here. So I don't think that's going to happen here, especially with Core Weave buying them out. All right. DeFi, what's your game plan to stay rich? Invest, and invest more. I haven't taken anything out in the last 3 years for my investments. I've been also down on some of these things, but the plan is just to invest as much as I can in the long run, keep reinvesting it. And I might take some gains out of it here and there if I'm up nicely. I've already made great gains here in the last, I would say, 3 years from where we were and from where I was actually to where I am now. And overall, my portfolio, my my wealth in general, right? Overall wealth, has been huge here. So I'm happy with where I'm at right now, and I'm just looking to maybe double that, triple that in the next 5-10 years, continue to grow that more. So that's kind of the plan there, at least right now. All right, Ja, do you think Cut 8 will reach $100 as many claim? Would be great if that happens. I don't know. They're at $36 right now as it is for them. Let me see. Hut 8 is at $37 right now. I mean, that would be basically 2.5x roughly from where they are right now. They get a deal for their Louisiana site with somebody. Originally, the thought process was they were going to get a deal with Meta there. But, yeah, I mean, don't know. It's possible. I wouldn't rule it out. All right. DeFi says only for IREN, which is 100,000. Oh, well, at that point, I would be retired and my kids would be retired. Probably their grandkids would be retired if that happened there. I would love that. Okay, let's see here. Abilesh, Would IREN Cypher Bitfarms Cleanspark do 5x from here given catalysts like more rate cuts, HPC deals, Bitcoin 200,000? I think somewhere between 3 to 5x is doable. Right? Maybe 5x on like Cleanspark, maybe, because it's still beaten down quite a bit from where it was. IREN's obviously had a nice run here, so I would say somewhere between 3 to 5x. We don't know. All right, JA 100 Canadian. For which one? Okay. HUT 8. Well, HUT 8, does it still trade on the Canadian stock exchange there? I know they might be still trading there. Maybe. Abhilash, would miners make 5? All right, talked about that one already. Do you think Bitfarms should buy a jet to fly their different locations? They have a far less locations than what Cleanspark has. But I get what you're saying there. I see what you're doing. Right, they have, let's see, 3 sites in Pennsylvania. They got 1 site in Washington, and they have, several sites in Canada as well. But they're all pretty close to each other, so I don't know if you need a jet for that. If they had the sites still in Argentina and Paraguay, then I would say probably, yeah, you probably want to get a jet. But they don't need it right now. Plus, their market cap is still way, way, way lower from where it should be. All right, Gary, question. Do we have a vote date for CoreWeave possible deal? I have not seen anything yet, but that doesn't mean that there isn't one there. All right. Megan Khan, DMG blockchain, will it outperform? Outperform what? Bitcoin outperform the other miners? Be a little bit more specific. I don't know what you're thinking about outperforming it. As far as where it's at right now, I think it will. With Bitcoin going up, I think it will go up as well. All right, let's see. DeFi, Coinbase offering 10% yield on USD lending? Really? That's a lot. Okay, that makes me a little scary with Coinbase here. That seems high. That seems too high for me. I would need to look into that to see if that's the case. Mr. X, Sebastian, do you watch American football? I notice you sometimes stream during evening games. American football like soccer, or American football like the weird shaped football? I do watch American football. I watch my Chicago Bears play, so sometimes I'm a little late on streams because I watch the games there. So I do watch those. All right, DFly. My 401k is up 245% in 2 years because I invested in crypto stocks. I was also down 80% at one point as well. Yeah, I mean, same thing for me. My 401k is up almost 400 some odd percent. That was just, I think, more pure luck than anything else. My 401k was allowed basically in January of 2022, when everything pretty much bottomed out, to invest in ETFs. Prior to that, all we had was you can invest in gold, mutual funds, and that was it. They made it available to us to get into ETFs. The first thing I did, I sold pretty much 90% of what I had because you had to keep 10% in the regular account, and you could move 90% over into the ETFs account through a broker there. And I moved everything into the 2 ETFs, WGMI, and the other one was, what's the other one? BitQ. I moved everything into that. Basically in January and February and even March, I just plowed everything into it at that point. So I am doing very, very well for my retirement right now as it is. I'm very happy. All right, Gary, do you think core deal will pass as is? Seems incredible low on what people were expecting and current value of recent deals. Core better collecting rent from CoreWeave. Yes, I don't know if it will pass. It depends on how much votes they have from institutions to go for this deal compared to what retail is out there. That I don't know. I know that there's some institutions that are not happy with it. They might vote against it. It will be interesting to see if this gets passed because right now, yeah, the deal is lopsided to the favor of CoreWeave instead of the Core Scientific holders there. DeFi, take a look at Soluna. Seems like something is brewing with HPC, 25 million market cap only. Yes, they got a deal to build out a site there, right? They also got a $100 million credit line, I believe it is. That's on my to-do list for this weekend as well. All right, MD. Yes, HUT 8 still trades on the Texas in Canada or stock exchange TSX in Canada. Mawson complete, no touch in Europe. Yeah, I mean, Mawson had some potential there going into the 2021 bull run, but they fumbled things afterwards, and they actually sold, was it 1 or 2 sites to Cleanspark back in 2022 or 2023? I can't remember now, but they sold one of their sites there to Cleanspark. Okay, let's see. Gary says, Dub Bears. Yeah, I mean, the Bears are not doing great this year. They're 0-2 right now as it is. And they got their butts kicked last, was it Sunday? Sunday game that they had? Oh, man, that was a bad game. Yeah, MD says, sorry to say, but the Chicago Bears are terrible. Yeah, I know. I mean, they have the potential there. I don't know if it's just the play calls and some of the fourth down plays that they're trying to do. Also, the fouls, mistakes that they're making there is killing them right now. They need to, get everybody in shape and in line there. All right. Let's see. Senketh, Bitfarms dropped after hours. Do you think this was just a profit taking or something bigger brewing? And more importantly, will it keep dropping tomorrow or bounce back? Nobody knows on that as far as I think it's just some profit taking happening. It's been up huge in the last week to 2 weeks. So I would expect this to happen regardless. We saw that also in Cypher. We saw that in IREN. So I'm not too worried about it yet. We could go down on some of these guys here, right? I'm not going to say that they are going to go down, but we could see some of these guys go down 20, 30%, a little bit of correction. And then we could continue to go back up there as well. All right. The all-seeing eyes. Seb, how old are you, by the way? I would say 36. Well, I would appreciate that. That's very actually kind of you. I'm actually about 10 years older than that right now. So I'm in my late 40s, going on my 50, surprisingly enough. All right, let's see. Michael, I took some profits in Bitfarms and was planning to put it in Hive. What do you think of the move? I'm in Canada looking for miners that trade in Canada. I'm also looking at DMG. Okay. Hive, great operations for Bitcoin mining. They're getting into HPC as well right now. They're generating about 1 million plus in HPC revenue right now from the GPUs that they do have for their Buzz mining, or their Buzz Cloud, they call it. They bought a site in Toronto, 7.2 megawatts, that they're converting into a tier 3 data center for GPU mining as well. Or why do I say keep mining? GPU, HPCI basically. So I think there's potential there. I think that Bitfarms, and this is me, I could be wrong. I think Bitfarms might have more potential with the site that they have in Pennsylvania. A couple sites they have in Pennsylvania. That could be, tremendous growth for them in the long run here. So that's kind of where my thoughts are at. But, I could be wrong on it. All right, let's see here. Anyway, am I crazy for thinking that Cypher might be able to go up to $60 to $80 next year if they reveal some additional sites? Sites and a deal. We need a deal. With all these guys here, we need a deal. They've been running on megawatts right now, but I think we need a deal for all these guys here. Or at least one of these guys to get a deal, which would then, I think, give the probability of another one getting a deal down the road. Steven Wilshire says, check out BTCI. It gives a 25% plus yield and goes up when Bitcoin goes up. Okay. That one? Okay, I'll take a look at that one. That's interesting. All right. Abhilash, what goes down during pre-market will go up during day and also vice versa. Not always, but sometimes, yeah. Brody says, SKOL Vikings. Is the Vikings coming up this week? Or what? Wait a minute. They played Detroit this past week. Did they play the Vikings last time around? I can't remember. I got too much data in my head with all these numbers from the miners and everything else. It's hard to keep track of everything. Plus, the days are just going by too damn fast as it is. All right. DeFly says, you can actually fully withdraw from 401k before the retirement, which is tax-free, but you end up paying 3% in fees, which is actually not bad, as that's basically capital gains tax in regular accounts. Yes, it's a 10% penalty plus the 20% roughly in capital gains, I think, right? Yeah. So I do not want to take that out. I would maybe take out, right, if it gets to a certain value, high enough, right, several $1 million in value for my retirement, at that point I might be able to say, okay, I'm going to take out like $50,000 a year, because that the growth on it is going to be much higher than the $50,000 I take out, right? It should grow at least $100,000, $120,000, whatever it might be a year. I can possibly take out $50,000 and still have it increasing over time. Yeah. A Perfecta says, Seb, you don't look a day over 12. I'm like, well, yeah, the pimples kind of make me look like I'm 12, don't they? And that's, I'm just cursed with that. I've tried everything in the world to get rid of those, but I got some bad genes. Unfortunately for my parents, love them to death, but I got some bad genes from them. Or it was just a bad bedtime in the oven. I don't know. It is what it is. You deal with it. You move forward. All right. AJ, share target CORZ and Wolf target. I mean, CORZ should be around $20, right? I mean, that's kind of roughly where the deal came in from CORZ Weave. So that's kind of where they should be. They're not there. That's because they're getting part of the deal was stock for stock, or a multiple of a stock or something like that. Wolf is going to be interesting. I think Wolf is kind of fairly priced in right now. I think it will go up if they get another deal, or if they start generating revenue from those deals that they have. They are generating some revenue as well, but they got to build out the data centers there. So Bitcoin going up in value will also help, I think, there. MD says, what would you say to those pundits out there that say quantum computing will eventually hack the Bitcoin blockchain? And speaking of quantum, do you like any quantum stocks such as Rigetti or D-Wave? I've been looking into D-Wave. I have not started looking into Rigetti yet. So that is also something on my to-do list here as we progress into this year, is something that I want to look into more and more in those guys. As far as quantum taking over for Bitcoin can have a hard fork, or even just a soft fork, to where it will be prone to, or not prone, it will be able to protect itself from quantum. So they are already working on this. There's plans in place if that happens that they will do that. So I'm not too worried about that right now, at least. All right, Christian, what do you think could be closest to get HPC deal? Who do I think? I mean, it's a toss-up right now. I mean, you got IREN, you got Cypher, you got Riot, you got Hut, you got Hive, Bitfarms as well in there. I honestly do not know, right? Wolf surprised the heck out of me that they got a deal before IREN or Cypher even. But it's also their site is in that far east, northeastern region, right? Which is obviously a lot of people live in that area, 30-some odd million roughly, in a close area. So I should have probably thought about that in the beginning and said, okay, there might be something there for Terrible. Didn't think that. You kind of learn as you go. So, I mean, based on the site locations and things like that, we know that Oracle is looking for a lot of megawatts. They're talking about Texas, they're talking about Oklahoma, they're talking about also, I think, Arizona or something like that up there. They need a lot of megawatts to help out OpenAI. There's also a lot of competition in Texas. You got Riot, you got Cypher, you got IREN, you got Mara as well in there, and others. Galaxy is in there. So I don't know. I do not honestly know who's going to get the deal first. And I'm not really too concerned about who gets the deal first, because that will re-rate the other stocks as well, like we've seen here recently. All right, Manuel, do you think BTC mining and HPCI stocks will still be around 20 plus years from now, specifically Bitfarms, as that's my largest position? Do I think they will be around as long as Bitcoin continues to be going up and being profitable when you're mining it? Then yes, I do believe that they will be, because I mean, Bitcoin does provide, and Bitcoin mining provides an actual pretty good buffer for the electricity grid. Right? You can basically shut off Bitcoin mining side of things, which some of these sites are, like 1 gigawatt or something like that, or some are smaller than that, but you can curtail that Bitcoin mining there and provide power to the rest of the grid there. So I think there is an important part of it that supports the U.S. grid and other grids as well. So I think it will be around. All right. DeFi says 401k money equals Viagra pills, so why not live life when we don't need it? LOL. Yeah. Shinshi question. Hi Seb. So my portfolio clicked 100,000 this week and M37. Am I on track to a good retirement yet? LOL. I forgot how much you said you would need to have by 40. By age 40. I mean, 100,000 is a good start there. You still have about 20 some odd years of working ahead of yourself. So I think if you can continue to compound that, getting 200,000 is like the hardest part there. Once you get 200,000, right, if you go up 20% a year or 15%, or if you can double that even, right, depending on what you get into, what's things, that makes it a lot faster there. So I started with a little bit over, I don't want to say because that's going to obviously give you guys a tell there. But in the last 3 years, I was kind of in your similar situation. We'll just leave it at that. I have definitely done a lot better. Maybe by luck, maybe by chance, maybe by knowledge. I don't know. Regardless, it has grown tremendously here with the investments that I put into my 401k plan, which I've been putting in. So let me put this into perspective to you guys. It took me approximately 20 some odd years to build up, roughly around that figure. And then it's just within the last 3 years, it has basically, it's gone up huge. I'll just leave it at that. So the one good thing now, at least right now, if something was to happen to me, right? God forbid something happened to me, whether it's a stroke, heart attack, whatever, you just never know, right? I have the comfort knowing that at least my wife, my kids would be okay without me bringing in income, because I'm the only one bringing in income right now to my household here. So I'm happy knowing that if that happens, they're protected. They would be okay. And I'll just leave it at that. But as far as where she'd be by 40, like I said, just continue to invest as much as you can. Don't go for instant gratification. Delay that gratification. Invest as much as you can, right? And I was kind of similar boat as you are right now, just a couple of years ago, about 5-7 years ago. So yeah, keep it up, keep investing, and I think as long as you continue to invest, you'll do fine. All right. Gary asks, Seb, have you entertained any offers from the major TV stations for anchor positions or possibly even replacing Jimmy Kimmel? No, I have not entertained that. And to be honest, are they overreacting? I think they're kind of overreacting there a little bit. That's just my take, right? I'm all for free speech. Whether I agree with it or not, I'm all for it. Should he have apologized? Yeah, probably. And that should have been it, right? You live and learn. People will make mistakes from time to time. Yeah, as long as you learn from those mistakes, I think that's good. If you repeat those mistakes, well, maybe you don't learn from those after all. And maybe at that point, the stations, whatever, would fire him and let him go. But I think it's just overreaction right now. That's just me, though. Pete, hi, Seba. Let's see here. So if you had a few more years on, but before 59.5, would you be withdrawing from Roth IRA or traditional IRA to cover your bills if you had to? Penny for your thoughts. Well, the plan is, I'm not in a Roth for IRA or a traditional IRA. I'm in a 401k plan. So is that traditional IRA? I'm not sure what the terminology is. I'm in a 401k plan. And I believe that I think I can continue to add on to it beyond 59.5 years old. I believe. No, I'm not a financial analyst or a financial accountant or anything like that. I would have to seek info on that. But my understanding is you can continue to go on beyond that as long as you're working. So if I continue to work, whether it's for myself or for the company that I'm working right now, regardless, I would probably continue to add into it or not pull from it, maybe pull a little bit. I don't know. Like I said, I still have a long ways to go. At least another decade to go before I get to that point. So I got a ways to go. In order for me to retire right now, I would need probably around 5 million or so, 5 million plus, in order to live off the potential gains each year of what I'm making right now, roughly. All right. Let's see. D-Flight. Cleanspark volume today was very high, just the beginning. I think so too. We'll see what it goes to tomorrow. DGF sup Q question: did Q4 pump come early or what? Let's effing go. Got 400K in November. Question: how many of these miners are growing BTC hash rate? Cleanspark's growing theirs. Riot is growing theirs. Hive is growing theirs. Who else is growing out of these guys here? BitDeer is growing theirs. I'm trying to think of anybody else. Cypher, I think, is still growing theirs. Mara is growing theirs. The only ones that are not really growing is IREN that I'm aware of right now, at least. All right, PLG, first 100,000 is the most difficult. It gets quicker and easier after that. Just respect your money and put it wisely to work. Very good. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I wish I would have known that when I was much, much younger. And like I said before, we do not get taught this stuff in school, unfortunately, so we have to learn it the hard way in real life. Yeah. At Perfecte, it's not how much you can earn, but how much you can save. Very good too, right? Delayed gratification. So instead of spending it on a 100-inch TV or something like that, stick with this 55, 65-inch TV that you have right now. put that money off into investment, which can grow for you, and then you can, still buy it later on, but you have 100,000 in the bank on top of it. All right. Let's see. Do you, MS, do you do any technical analysis as far as look at the charts, right? The chart squigglers? No, I look at just the simple things. RSI, where are things at that point? How much has the price gone up? Little things. Where's the 50-day, 100-day simple, and 200-day simple moving averages, right? Where are we bouncing off those things? I do simple things like that. All right. Did Riot sold all their Bitfarms holdings from DeFi? I think they did. I think last time they reported was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. They were at 4.6%. I think they've sold out. I think. All right. MD, do you have any insights if there was in fact big short sellers covering today on Cleanspark with the volume being so high, 3x normal average volume? I would think so, but I don't have any data on that. With the price being up 17%, I think there was some shorts covering today. I think. But we've also seen shorts getting decreasing over time here over the last number of months here. So it's nowhere near where it was 5-6 months ago at that point. David says, the person you choose as a spouse can make you or break you. I choose the wrong person, paying dearly for that. That is very true also, right? You need to be aligned with that person in some beliefs, in political views as well. I think it's also important, and you just need to be aligned together. If you guys are working together towards a common goal, then you're basically butting heads against each other, and it's going to be very, very difficult at that point. Christian, which miners do you think are undervalued at this point? I still think Cleanspark's undervalued. I still think Bitfarms is undervalued at a certain number there. Hive also right now, and then after that, I would say probably Mara as well, and Riot to a certain extent. All right, MT asks, is Wolf still in growth mode? I think they are. I mean, they've gotten more sites, right, that they're trying to build out as well, so I think they're still in growth mode. All right, and we're going on an hour and 10 minutes right now as it is, so I got to get some rest. We're going to call it a day. I've come up to all your guys' questions here right now as it is. So, as always, I greatly appreciate you guys coming in here. We'll see what tomorrow brings us. Tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow's Friday. We'll see if we can get in the green for Friday again, which we had last week. And we'll cover it all. We'll see what else happens at that point. But, as always, thank you so much for coming in. Greatly appreciate you guys. Love you all. I hope you guys have a fantastic Friday. And then we'll cover it all, anything that happens tomorrow, late stream as well. All right, so have a great night. I will see you guys tomorrow.